What's up everyone, coming to you with 6 NCAA basketball picks for Sunday, February 18th. Yesterday's video was our most watched video in channel history, so we are getting right back after today. We will be posting an NCAA basketball picks video every day, so hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our daily NCAA basketball and NBA videos. These picks are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com, where you can get all of our best picks and predictions on every major sport. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or bets on today's college basketball slate. I read and respond to every single comment. Now let's dive into our first game of the day, a showdown between Memphis and SMU. Memphis comes into this game looking to bounce back after just losing their last time out, falling at North Texas. The Tigers have some of the best offensive production in the league behind the scoring of David Jones, but there have been times this season where even his 21.6 points per game was not enough. This team is long and physical enough to be much better than their numbers show on the boards and defensively, and they better get their act together before the conference and NCAA tournaments tip off. This team has not developed that great of a resume. They've been ranked in the top 25 a whole bunch, but they're definitely aiming higher than just finding 1 or 2 wins in the NCAA tournament. SMU have been great lately, winning 5 in a row, including wins over UAB and North Texas. This squad can dominate the boards and plays great defense while still putting up enough offense to keep them ahead of most opponents. The Mustangs have very solid wins when you look back over their schedule, but did lose by 3 at Memphis earlier this season. The Mustangs have, I think, a pretty reasonable tournament resume. They're only in 4th place in the American, but the American Conference has been very good, so I think they are looking at making a tournament berth in this season. Take Memphis +5 in this one. I think they use this bounce back spot to gain motivation. They need to make this a 1-possession game against an elite conference opponent that they've already shown they can beat this season. Next up, we're looking at Florida Atlantic headed to South Florida. This is a in-state rivalry game. This is the first game on the schedule. It's at 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN. Florida Atlantic comes into this game still ranked in the top 25 thanks to their elite offense and back-to-back wins over terrible opponents. The Owls are putting up an absurd 83.3 points per game and are capable of playing some pretty insane defense as they start to try and ramp up for another deep NCAA tournament run. John L. Davis is a monster, and this team can crash the boards when they're appropriately motivated, but they've been super inconsistent this season. They're up, down, all over the place. You never really know what team they're going to get. Maybe they're just looking ahead to postseason play. I'm not really sure, but this is a concern for the squad. South Florida has now won 10 games in a row and will be putting their more normal but also more sustainable numbers to the test against their toughest opponent in the American. The Bulls are a very solid defensive team and have continuously looked good this season, showing consistency you don't often see from college teams. Right now, sitting atop of the American, this squad is not looking to give up that spot. They've been playing really well. They just beat Tulsa in a blowout. They're really getting after it. We're taking South Florida +3.5 at home in this one. The Bulls are an amazing 10-3-1 against the spread when playing at home. We're not going to ignore that kind of trend. They'll be really going for it against a Florida Atlantic team that is only 2-5 against the spread playing on the road, and they have not been great this season in big pressure spots. Next up, we're looking at Belmont headed to UIC. Some Missouri Valley Conference action in this one. Belmont comes into this game fresh off a 3rd straight win, and while it's going to be impossible for them to build any sort of tournament resume at this point, they're at least trying to earn some respect in the Missouri Valley. The Bruins have an elite scorer, Malik Dye, and their offense is a sneaky good one, scoring over 77 points per game, ranking them in the top 100 nationally. This team isn't anything to write home about, but they've been finding a way to maintain their spot. They're kind of a middling team in a middling conference. UIC is a terrible squad. They just lost at Bradford and are not having a good time in conference play. The Flames don't really have a go-to offensive weapon, and their rebounding woes and lack of offense are not helping them stay competitive, as they're trapped at the bottom of this conference with the likes of helpless teams like Valparaiso. We're taking Belmont -2.5 on the road in this one, as they're clearly the better team and have shown they are locked in and trying to win games right now. Offensively, the Bruins are very solid and should be able to run up some numbers against a bottom-of-the-barrel conference opponent. UIC is a terrible 7-4-0 against the spread when they're playing at home. I think this is a great spot for Belmont. North Texas heads to UAB in this next game. North Texas is playing pretty well. They're coming off a huge win taking down Memphis, but now have to go on the road. This squad has been all over the place, but their defense has kept them in a lot of games. The Mean Green have a solid scorer in Jason Edwards, but that hasn't gotten them over the top in the very competitive American Conference. The Mean Green have won 2 of their last 3, but they're in a big letdown spot in this one. UAB got a big win over number 20 Florida Atlantic and followed it up with a very solid road win at Tulsa, dodging that letdown spot. There aren't many easy games in the American this season, but this team has making it work with elite rebounding and offense to kind of balance out a defense that doesn't always show up. The Blazers played a tough game at UNT only a couple weeks ago and came away with a 3-point win, so they know they can beat this team. This squad has tournament aspirations. They need more solid wins to build that resume. They're only 8-3 in conference play, but that's 8-3 in a very good conference. They've got a top 100 offense. The rebounding is also in the top 100. Very solid. We're going to take UAB -2.5 in this one. The Blazers are an elite team and have already found found a way to win against North Texas this season, and I expect the home team to dominate the boards and find ways to score against a solid defense. UAB is 6-5-1 against the spread playing at home. Not insane, but we're riding with them. In a very interesting but not that mainstream of a matchup, we're looking at Niagara headed to Quinnipiac. In this one, we're looking at Niagara, the NCAA's best team in the league against the spread playing on the road. They're 11-1-0 against the spread on the road this season. Niagara is coming to this game fresh off a road win over Fairfield and have won 3 of 4 overall. This squad has been kind of all over the place. They've managed to overcome some insanely bad rebounding numbers to claw their way to slightly above the middle of the pack in the MAC. This team has not found success against the best conference opponents and will really have to pull out something against the best team in the conference. The Purple Eagles just aren't really something to write home about. Sure, they pull out some wins, but those are not great wins. Also, they're in a huge letdown spot, taking down Fairfield, a team that's definitely above them in the standings. Sure, they have identical conference records, but Fairfield's been the better team this season. Quinnipiac just lost to Mount St. Mary's and find themselves in a classic bounce back spot. The Bobcats have been clearly the best team in the conference, but took their eye off the ball and lost to a middle-of-the-road opponent their last time out. Quinnipiac is an elite offensive team with solid rebounding, and while their defensive numbers aren't elite, they've been dominating the conference all season long. The Bobcats have a premier scorer in Matt Blanc, and they can dominate the boards against worse opponents. We're taking Quinnipiac -7, playing at home in this one. I know we're bucking a huge trend with Niagara being the best team in the NCAA, going 11-1 against the spread on the road, but the Bobcats are elite against the spread playing at home, and this bounce back spot is what puts it over the top for me. Quinnipiac is 7-4-0 against the spread playing at home. That's good enough. We're riding with the best team in the conference. I think they get a blowout, double-digit win in this game. In our last game of the day, we see Utah heading to UCLA in a Pac-12 showdown. Utah is a disaster right now. This team has lost 3 straight and just lost against lowly USC in a very disappointing 68-64 performance. These have not been playing well on the road this season at all, and they have lost 5 of their last 6 overall. The squad has some talent on it, there's no doubting that, but their rebounding and offensive numbers are not outweighing their recent defensive issues. Brandon Clarkson is a very solid player. He's great, but really this team is just not coming together the way many would have thought they would. UCLA has absolutely come alive lately, winning 6 straight and coming to this game fresh off a solid win over Colorado. This team has won 8 of their last 9 and suddenly find themselves in 3rd place in the Pac-12 behind only Washington State and Arizona. Nobody thought earlier this season we would see the Bruins play Arizona close, and they did that. They'll be out for revenge after a blowout loss that Utah handed to them earlier this season. The Bruins are just a different team right now. There's no way around it. This squad is playing great. They just look completely different. I mean, they're a different team. This last several game stretch has really shown what they can do. We're taking UCLA -2.5 at home as I expect them to get the win and cover in this one against a Utah team that is struggling against everyone and is a terrible 1-6-0 against the spread playing on the road. They're just not very good. We're going to capitalize on Utah's woes in this one and the surging UCLA Bruins. That's all of our games today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or comments about these picks or today's slate, and check out stumpthespread.com to see all of our top plays. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are enjoying these videos. See you guys tomorrow for more NCAA basketball action.